Good morning, dear students. Welcome to our English session today. Today's session is about active and passive voice and grammar lesson. The objectives of this lesson: by the end of the lesson, you will define that voices of verb are whether active or passive voice, to differentiate between them, to know how to convert an active voice to passive and vice versa. First of all, what's voice when I say active voice or passive voice? The voice is a characteristic of verbs which indicate the relation of the verb's action to its subject, to know the doer of the action, okay? And then what did he do? So the voice of a verb may be either active or passive. Now let's start to know what's an active voice. Active voice is the normal voice that to know the subject or the doer of the action who did something. And this is the voice that we use most of the time to know the normal simple sentence with the subject, verb, and object of the sentence. Active voice is used when the subject performs the action and the object receives the action of the verb. For example, the head of the department provided copies. Now, first of all, you have to know where is the verb. So it's provided. You are going to ask yourself, who provided copies? You will know that the head of the department is the doer of the action. This means that this is an active voice because I have a normal simple sentence with the subject in the beginning of the sentence, with the verb, and then the object. So provided here is an active verb because it allows the subject to undertake an action. I have a subject before it, and of course it did something, which is provided what? Provided copies. Let's do another example. Mike ate the pancakes. Where is the verb? Ate. The subject here is Mike. Mike is the doer of the action. So that's why it's an active voice. And ate here is an active verb. Okay, what's the passive voice? Passive, in it, the subject receives the action of the verb. The passive voice or the subject receives the action of the verb. A by phrase indicates the doer of the action. A by phrase indicates the doer of the action. It means that the object now is more important to focus on than the subject. And this question, we had something like this before in the exam when I got a sentence asking you about what voice is this sentence. So you have to say whether it's an active voice or a passive voice. And then I ask you now, what's the importance of it? The importance of passive is that you focus on the object rather than the subject. Okay? For example, copies were provided by the head of the department. Look at by the head of the department. This is the meaning of a by phrase indicates the doer of the action. This is the meaning of a by phrase. So when I say here copies were provided by the head of the department, were provided is considered passive because it indicates that the subject or the copies is receiving an action. So I focus here on copies, which is the object now. So this is the importance of using the passive voice. It's that the object is more important than the subject or the doer of the action. Now, do you remember how can I form the passive verb? Now, the most important thing is verb to be. That is the key role of the passive voice. If I have the verb like the passive before here, or like here, the head of the department provided copies. So provided is past. So the past of verb to be was or were. Okay? So when I concentrate now on the new subject, which is copies. Copies is plural. So I will put verb to be in the plural form in the past tense, which is where. It will be where, and the past participle, the PP, which is the third conjugation of the main verb, which is provided, it will be provided as it is. So it will be copies were provided by the head of the department. Were provided here is considered passive because it indicates that the subject, which is copies, is receiving an action. Let's do another example. The pizza was eaten by Mike. By Mike is the by phrase here. So when it was a passive, okay, I have to focus now on, yes, on the object, which is the pizza. In active voice, the active, the one who did it, and he did it as an active person, was that Mike ate pizza. This was the active voice. Now I will change it into passive in order to concentrate more on the new object rather than the doer of the action. So I will change now the verb into passive verb. That's why I said that the pizza was eaten. Okay, when I want to mention who really did this action, so I will say by Mike. Okay, now classify the following sentences, whether they are in active voice or passive voice. And if the sentence is in active voice, change it into passive voice, and vice versa. Again, let's do number one with each other. The basketball players greet their fans. Again, what are we going to do here? You will classify the following sentence, whether it's an active voice or passive voice. So please read each sentence, and next to it write A or P, which is active voice or passive voice. And try now. If it's active, you will change it into passive. If it's passive, you will change it into active. You can do something now. You can pause and then start to do this in your grammar, for example, copybook. And then we will go back with each other in order to answer and check the answers that you did. You can make a pause and then you write in your grammar copybook, number one, it's A or P, which is active or passive, and leave a line below it. And then the second step, if it's active, you will change it into passive. If it's passive, you will change it into active. Now you can pause and then do the exercise, like for example, a classwork, and then we will go back to each other in order to check the answers. Welcome back. Now we will check the answers with each other. The basketball players greet their fans. Where is the verb? Yes, greet. So now, is it active or passive? How do I know that? Now, first of all, I have the basketball players. Yes, this is the subject of the sentence. This means that it's an active voice because I have the active people, the subject, the players who greet their fans. Okay, so first of all, number one is active. Now you can change the voice into passive. Now, what do the players do? Yes, they greet their fans. Okay, so greet what? Their fans. So now we can change it into passive and say, yes, you can say their fans. And what does their refer to? Yes, the basketball players. So I can say the basketball players' fans, the basketball players' fans, and you can put apostrophe after S of the players because now this is possessive. So you will say that the basketball players' fans are greeted. Thank you. Are greeted. Because here they are plural and greet is in the present simple, and the main verb that we will focus on in the passive is verb to be. So verb to be will be are, and then greet will be as a past participle, PP, greeted. So the basketball players, fans, are greeted by the basketball players. Yes, this is number one. Number two, the last shot was made by Kobe Bryant. Where is the verb? Yes, was made. Is this active or passive? Yes, great. This is passive. And I have a by phrase which is by Kobe Bryant. Okay, now we will change it into active. Yes, you will change it into a simple way. Kobe Bryant, this is the subject, made the last shot. Thank you. Number three, mother bought a cake. Where is the verb? Bought. Where is the subject? Mother who bought, of course. Bought what? A cake. So is this active or passive? Yes, active. Now we will change it into passive. Yes, a cake. So it's much better in passive to change the article, the indefinite article, into definite article. So I can say the cake. Yes, was bought. First of all, bought is in the past. I can change the verb to be that plays a very essential role, a very important role, essential role in active and passive, and change it into was bought by mother. Okay, number four. The termites were killed by the representatives. The verb here is were killed by somebody here. So this means that it's, yes, a passive voice. We'll change it into active. It will be the representatives, yes, killed the termites from the anti-termite company. Number five, polar bears wear jackets. What is the verb? Wear. Who is wearing here the jackets? Yes, polar bears. So this is active voice. We'll change it into passive. It will be jackets are worn, W-O-R-N, by polar bears. Yes, that's fine. So now again, to wrap it up, the active is the doer of the action. I have a clear subject in the beginning of the sentence who did an active and did something, which is the object. This is the active voice. The importance of using active is that you focus on the subject in the sentence or the doer of the action. The importance of using passive voice, and of course we know now what's the importance of using passive voice. Now the passive voice, its importance is that you focus on the object rather than the subject. Now you can use passive voice in the description of your narrative stories when you start to narrate a story, because you will verify in using sentence structure. You will change the sentence from active into passive so that you will draw suspense and make the sentence be different rather than the simple and direct sentences. And this is the importance of using, of course, passive voice. Thank you very much. Till we meet again. Bye-bye.